Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. As you probably know, Tucker Carlson is visiting Moscow. He has been in Moscow since Thursday last week. And people here, the guys who try to keep us uninformed, are freaking out. They are in panic mode. Why? Because he might interview the evil guy Vladimir Putin. And in the first statements made by Tucker Carlson while asked a few questions being in Moscow, he gives the wrong assessment of Russia and Moscow, which he says is beautiful, everything is very well, everybody is doing, Russia is doing very well. Well, that's not what these guys wanted to hear. So they immediately attack him as they've been for some time a pro-Russia, blah, 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 pro-Putin. I have here 4 articles and I'm going to discuss. 2 of them are from the Telegraph, one is from Ukrainska Pravda, and the last one is from Business Insider. So none of these are from the Russians. We also will have Dmitry Peskov, the spokesman of the Kremlin, talking about Tucker Carlson's presence in Moscow, and he's going to give a very interesting, he's going to make a very interesting statement regarding, I would say, the possibility of Tucker working in Russia. If you remember, according to Tucker Carlson, the US government forbade him to go and interview the leader of another country. So much for free press here in the free world. Another interesting aspect is that, according to the articles I read, I just skimmed through some of them, no Western, how should I put it, a media personality interviewed Putin in the past 2 years. So no, how should I put it, no information coming directly from Putin into the West was allowed. It was like an order, So let's dive into the first article here. I mean, can you imagine if this would be done by, I don't know, Putin saying no one goes and interviews any American president? How would you feel about it? For good reason, you say, hey, what's going on here? But this is the level of our media free world here. It's controlled by these guys. First article, The Telegraph. Ukraine-Russia war latest. Tucker Carlson, interestingly enough, they didn't attach anything to the name, like pro-Russian, pro-Putin, idiot or something. Says Russia is doing, oh no, very well during Moscow visit. So Russia is doing very well. Contrary to these guys' expectations and hopes, that the Russians will fight, will kill one another for a little loaf of bread. That's a, how should I put it, these economists in charge of us, financiers and these smart people got it all wrong. How? With all those sanctions. Maybe they wanted to be like this. Maybe they wanted to provide, to slap Russia with some sanctions, therefore sanctioning certain countries so they can come over and take over. So let's see what these guys are saying. Tucker Carlson, the former Fox News host, said Russia is doing very well during the visit to Moscow, but remained coy about whether he will interview Vladimir Putin. In a video captured during his visit, Mr. Carlson said he wanted to talk to people, look around and see how it's doing, and it's doing very well. When asked if he would interview Putin, hey, for you, President Putin, anyway, Mr. Putin, he replied, we'll see. So again, Mr. Carlson said in late September 2023 that he had attempted to interview the Russian leader. Telegraph keeps a veneer of decency, but that US government had blocked the move. And I'm quoting Tucker, I tried to interview Vladimir Putin and the US government stopped me. Free media, I want to hear those imbeciles from Romania too, who talk about free media here and yeah, we're free and those guys are... I want to hear. Oh, you don't trust Tucker? Okay. Don't you think that he would have been, a little bit slapped over his nut by saying that? The Kremlin, asked the same question, said it could hardly be expected to comment on the comings and goings of foreign journalists or provide a running commentary of them. So that means come and go, do whatever you want. Now, this is what Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman, said. Please pay attention to this. Many foreign journalists come to Russia every day. Many continue to work here. Now, that's what drew my attention. And we welcome this. We have nothing to announce in terms of the president's interviews to foreign media. So let's put it this way. Tucker come to Russia and he may continue to work here, and we welcome this. Just look at this in this. Now they're gonna do a little character assassination to Tucker right here, because he has to be on board with something that in a free world you should have the right to choose, right? Now, the other article coming from the Telegraph. Tucker Carlson hints at Putin interview during trip to Moscow. It basically says the same thing as this guy said over there. And right here, Carlson, who arrived in Moscow on Thursday, has fueled speculation he may become the first Western journalist to interview the Russian president since the war in. So how did these guys were able to pull this off? It was like an order. Don't you think that nobody had the interest to do that? After all, how do these guys work? The media, they provide a very good story, a good interview with someone that people will watch. Why people will watch? While people watch are attracted, like let's say fly to shit or fly to honey, right, or honey pot. When they come over, these guys, the media slaps them with advertisements, pop, 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 commercials. So that's how they function. So if let's say I'm interviewing someone very interesting, I will have a lot of people who are going to watch. That means the advertisers will have a lot of success. So the goal of the mass media here, to make a profit, not to inform us, is attracting us. Therefore, we're going to be exposed to the commercials. Business. That's how it works. So don't you think that if, let's say, CNN would have sent an idiot over there and talk to Putin, let's say those guys say, yeah, we're going to talk with CNN. CNN, if they would bring that interview to United States of America and broadcast it, I would have watched it. I don't watch garbage CNN. I would have watched it. And many like me and better than me. So CNN at that point would have like a spike, infinite high, where they can do a lot of shit, have the interview for 5 hours, even though the interview was an hour. But commercial every 3 minutes to the 1 hour, and going to get to 20 hours marathon. They will have the biggest audience, I would assume. And none of these guys did it. Why? If it would have been about informing people, you want to know what the other person says. If it's about making money as well, that would have been a diamond mine. Obviously, none of these things were good enough for the mass media that works with these things to go over there and send an imbecile journalist to interview him. None, zero. None of them thought about it. Do you think that they're so morally superior and no, we don't talk to terrorists? Don't you think? Do you think that's the reason? Who do you think gave the order? Or if they didn't give the order, that means all these guys are in the same team. They know what they need to do. Money is not an issue. Money is not an issue. The same with Tucker. When Tucker was fired from Fox News, he was the highest rating host in whatever media. The highest. He was the superstar. He was fired. Why? Money is not an issue. Fox News lost some, won some, didn't matter. Did not matter. So that tells you what? These guys are not news agencies. These are just propaganda. It's as someone said in 1920s, in his book or in two books that he wrote. They say he wrote another one, that Mystery Train, whatever. He said, media the newspapers in our world is the school for the adults. So when you're a child, you're given information like a child, blah, 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 blah. Media, when you grow up, you become an adult, media takes over and they're gonna give you what you need to know. That's the school for the adults. The same here. These guys are not to inform you, to school you, to regiment you, to put you on the same narrative. I have 2 more articles here. Again, first Western journalist to interview the Russian president since the war in Ukraine began. Unbelievable. I will tell you another story. Putin story. New Voice of Ukraine. Look how these guys are portraying him. Pro-Kremlin host Tucker Carlson appears in Moscow. So, it's not always with us or against us. Sometimes there's some other nuances in between, which is, I don't give a fuck. I don't know enough about it. So it's at least 4. I'm with you, I am against you. Okay, this is the infantile, the childish mentality. That's it. But you have people that say, you know what? Have you ever been asked what's your take on this issue? And you say, well, I can't have one because I don't know enough about it. So I don't want to say something because I don't know enough. That's a very very good way to answer something that you really did not accumulate enough information, knowledge on that one. Versus the other one, which is like, I don't give a shit, man. I don't care. I don't even care. What's that? I don't care about it. Or the other ones that don't know anything about it. So at least 5 options. Here, by saying that, because Tucker doesn't sing their tune or play their tune, he must be pro-Kremlin. What if he could be, objective? What about finding the truth? If you try to find the truth and you don't parrot the narrative, you automatically fall into pro-Kremlin. But I understand these guys. These guys are at war with Russia, so I understand, not at war. NATO is and these guys, but nevertheless, they are like the first line of, contact with the Russians. So I kind of understand their take on this one. They don't like it, but still, this New Voice of Ukraine is a news outlet. News. I inform you. A went to B. That's it. I don't say bad A went to good E or A or whatever. I don't say that. If I say that, that's an opinion. I give you already a spin to the reality. That's for someone else. Now let's go to the last article, Business Insider. We have people like, for instance, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene defends the prospect of Tucker Carlson interviewing Putin amid rumors he is in Moscow. And she's not the only one, and I'm okay with that. He's not the only one. Another guy who defended him was also, I don't know where, I can have to look for it. I don't know if right here or not, but let me look for it first. But if I don't find it, I'm just going to say it. This is what I've been looking for. It was in one of those 4 articles I had, but I couldn't find anymore. I don't know what the hell happened, because I read them on the iPad. And then when I found them on the laptop, not here. So anyway, the point is, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says Tucker Carlson has every right to speak to Putin, as Russian media shares video of podcast host leaving the Kremlin. So he was at the Kremlin right there. So Robert F. Kennedy has expressed his support to a potential sit-down between Tucker Carlson and Vladimir Putin. There you have it. We need more transparency. So he was at the Kremlin. All right, well, we can talk about that. So let me tell you about Putin's story. When it was when Georgia attacked South Ossetia in 2008, wherever there was, I think in 2008, and it was the Beijing Olympic Games. Putin was in Beijing with Xi Jinping and other leaders. And the mass media in the West did not say shit for about 24 hours or so. And then Putin said that was quiet in the Western media. Nobody said anything about the attack for 24 hours. We found out, he said, I was told from Russians, hey, this guy invaded for 24 hours. He said, it's an interview on YouTube. He said, I would like to congratulate my Western colleagues for following the order, like keeping silent. The same here. No Western journalist went to interview Putin. Do you think Putin did not want to talk to them? No. We don't talk to terrorists. So here is, my friends. It's not necessary with Tucker to go over there and interview. It's how these guys can keep everything shut down. Not even from Germany or from France, from any country. From any country. Can you imagine the level of control? Unless you say, well, Putin didn't want to talk to them. I'm 99.9% certain he didn't give a fuck about it, because he wants his message that whenever he had that, when he has, how do you call it, press conferences, or the ones that have the annual one, when he talks to a Western guy, he asked a question. He said, I would like you to go and tell them, your fellow citizens, wherever you are from, tell them I said this, because I know my words don't trickle to them, don't go. So you tell them I told them this, but you're not going to write about this one. As once or twice he said that to some weasel journalist who said, okay, I'm going to say this, but I want you to write exactly what I say, and I want you to do it. He wants his message to get to us, not filtered by these guys. And it's filtered or blocked. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.